Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. Part of getting more points at your matches is having good ballistics data, and part of getting good ballistics data is getting good velocities. And how do we do that? Well, the best way is with a chronograph. So I have here the Athlon Rangecraft. So special thanks to Athlon and to Jay from Airguns and Optics for getting me this unit. You can get yours there as well. And essentially, this is a lot like the Garmin, and I know there's been a lot of videos comparing the two, but essentially it's just, provides the same functionality. It's a chronograph. It's nice and portable, light, comes with a little tripod stand. It's great, and it's a lot cheaper than the Garmin is. But I think what is missing from a lot of the videos that are out there is the functionality with their phone app. So we're going to go over some ways that you pair these up, and then some things you can do in the phone app. It's a little bit easier to do on the phone than it is on the actual unit itself. You can kind of go in and edit shots here, but you can actually have a lot more functionality with the Athlon Ballistics Lite phone app. So let's get these paired up, and we'll talk about some of the features that you can utilize in this app.
All right, so here we have the Athlon Rangecraft, and we're going to talk about how to set it up for success and some of the cool features that you can find in the app. Now, there's been a lot of comparisons already between the Garmin, and consensus is that the Athlon is just as good and a lot cheaper. And there's not a whole lot of aftermarket support for this yet. I'm sure there will be, but as you can see here, I have like a Gray Ops, nice little like machined perfectly for this Garmin clamp here, and then it has their clamp so that you can slide this on here, and then you can attach this to your rifle with this little Arca clamp here. I'll give you a little trick. I mean, all this stuff, although extremely well made, does get expensive, and if you're looking at something like the Athlon because you're more price conscious, get yourself one of these, a Nodal Rail. This is used in macro photography, and essentially it helps you like slide the camera back and forth to get hyperfocus in macro photography. And basically, this already comes with an Arca clamp here, so you can imagine that your rifle with an Arca rail is here. And then because these are all threaded 1/4-20, that's what this bolt is down here. So you can just simply attach this, screw this in, like so, and then you basically have what this setup is. So as long as your forend is not wider than this point, and you can buy these Nodal rails in different sizes. This one works really well for mine. It's 180 millimeters long. They have 200 millimeters long ones. I will put a link down in the description if you want to pick one of these up, but this is a really simple way with this little Nodal rail to get a makeshift Arca clamp if you're someone who likes to attach your chronograph to your rifle while you're shooting. But with that being said, again, there's been a lot of comparisons between the Athlon and the Garmin, and consensus is they're pretty close. I mean, you see a lot of tests out there, a lot of videos out there, and they have these side by side, and there's probably some interference that goes on between these different devices, or this side by side with a lab radar or something like that. So take those with a grain of salt, and I think the key is pick a system and stick with it. And if you've gone with this one, because it's much cheaper than the Garmin, I think you get the same results. I think you do still have to verify your distances, because there's going to be some sort of error in any kind of chronograph reading, right? They're not perfect. There's very low error in my experience with both these units, and you just have to take this velocity data, put in your ballistic calculator, and then usually you true your velocity or true your ballistic coefficient. So this is just to get you started. It's not the be all end all. People have had a lot of success just putting in the velocity that they get from here and running it into like a custom drag model, and that's usually what I do. But sometimes there is truing involved, and that's because these things, again, are not perfect. And it's who's to say that one is more perfect than the other. So anyway, what's really cool about this unit is the connectivity to the phone. So let's talk about that. We're going to power the unit on, press and hold this button. You see the screen come up, tells you where to align it. We're going to press OK, top right button. And essentially, again, much like the Garmin, 3 buttons on top, but you get 2 extra arrows here on the side, unlike the Garmin. So let's go down to Settings, hit OK. I'm going to scroll all the way down to Connection, hit OK, and we're going to pair phone. So let's get our phone out, And you're going to need the Athlon Ballistics Lite app. So let me just start screen recording on my phone. Okay, so let's pair our phone. So click OK on pair phone. Download and open the Athlon Ballistics app. I've already done that. You're either going to go to the Play Store or you're going to go to the Apple iPhone Store. We're going to use the little hamburger menu on the side there. We're going to go down to Connect Device. They have two options here. We have Athlon Thermals and we have the Velocity Pro Radar. We're obviously using the radar, so we're going to click Enter. It says please connect and pair device. So we're going to go down here and say pair. Do you want to allow Athlon Ballistics to find, connect to, and determine relative position of your devices? We're going to say allow. And what this is going to do is connect via Bluetooth on the a Bluetooth connection between the phone and the device itself. So it's found a Pro Radar. And we're going to wipe down on this. Confirm that the code on the phone is the same as the code on the device. And we're going to say pair. And now from here we can update firmware. We can manage the device. So while we're here, let's update the firmware of this device to the latest and greatest over the air. So we're going to do that. Okay, so the firmware is updated. It took about 4 or 5 minutes. So we're going to go back and without doing anything, let's see if it will just reconnect to the device. Yep. So now the update firmware is grayed out because we're on the most recent version. And if you're at a range which has a bunch of people at it, this name of the actual chronograph is going to match your serial number down here. So if we take a look at our serial number, it's that last 6 digits there, 002380. And that's going to match what is on the phone itself. So we can now manage this device, and if we had any sessions on here, we would see the sessions that we had, and we can go in and name them. We can say sync data. It's going to pull anything off of there. There is nothing on there. Brand new unit. So what we need to do next is get to the range and start collecting some data. All right, we're back from the range with our chronograph. Let's turn this on. Hit OK. Grab our phone, open up the Athlon app, hamburger menu, connect device, Pro Radar. It still recognizes the same serial number. We're going to hit reconnect. It's connected. We're going to hit manage, and then we're going to sync data. So now it's going to pull in that profile that we just shot at the range. So we have 22 shots from a rifle. We can go in here and then we can look at everything we want to look at. So we had 22 shots, average feet per second, 967. We got kinetic energy there, standard deviation, extreme spread, max and min. We can go into the shot order and we can actually go down and we can edit the shot. So if we knew we had like a cold bore shot or an errant shot, these all look pretty consistent. I think I did make a small tweak after the first shot. So let's just say the first shot was a cold bore shot. We can go here and edit. We can either exclude it, we can make it a cold bore. So if you're a hunter and you need to know that your cold bore velocity is different, you can label it as cold bore, clean bore, or any combination of the two. You can add some notes here for that specific shot. And yeah, so let's just say we're going to exclude that one for now. We're going to say done. We can also delete it, but we can exclude it from our calculations. And then we can say done. So now we're going to have 21 shots. Changes our average feet per second slightly. Again, and then now you see a line through that shot that we excluded. So if you have errant shots, or especially if you're on the line with a bunch of different people, I was using my air rifle here, so I know my velocities are going to be about 100 feet per second lower than the other people shooting at 22 long rifle in their rimfire rifles. They're going to be in that 1060 to 1100 range probably. So if I picked up any of those, I could go in here again, edit shot, and I could just pick which ones I wanted to exclude. And if you have a rimfire rifle, maybe you want to keep track of your cold bore velocity if that's something that matters to you. So really easy to pair up with the app, and then you can actually assign this to a rifle profile. You can edit the projectile, do anything like that, change the grain weight, and then we can enter notes here, and then we can actually assign, we can send velocity to profile. I don't have any rifles or bullets set up yet, but if you did, you could select your rifle from this drop down, and then you could select your bullet once you set up your rifle profile, and you can actually assign. You can rename the session. So right now it's just called rifle because I was using the rifle profile in the subsonic range, but you could name this, like we could just name this like FX Panthera. And we can then say done. So now we have the FX Panthera profile. We can go back in. It clocks exactly what time these were taken, June 15th, 7:45 a.m. And yeah, and then we can export this if we wanted to, and we can send it to whoever we want to. So you can export these and do some analysis on your computer if you wanted to export it to probably like a CSV or something, Excel file if you wanted to play around and keep a log that way. But real easy just to set up the app. That way you can sync it, and you can do this like live when you're at the range. So if you're trying to get velocity data, there's a bunch of other people, just quickly go into the app, sync the data, remove all the errant shots from other shooters around you, and then get a more accurate feet per second average velocity or any other metric that you want to look at. So that is how to get the most out of the phone app. And there's a bunch of other stuff in here, including Athlon scopes and reticles, that if you have those products that you can sync up. But best way to get all your data in an easy to view way without having to go through the actual unit itself is through that Athlon Ballistics Lite app. So hope this was helpful. Until I see you next time, as always, score more points.